I'm Bianca.
And I'm Rosina, and welcome back to
Twins and Stitches. Today I'm going to show you how to embroider practically any outline from any reference photo, and this is done using tracing paper.
So let's get started.
Alright, so to start we're going to get a picture we've printed out, and you can print it out in black and white because we're just going to be tracing it. So this is the picture I've chosen. And then you need a piece of tracing paper that you're going to put on top. So once I put the tracing paper on top, I'm going to trace the image, and I'm just going to be doing rough features. You don't have to do like the eyes or anything. Personally, I just want the outline, but you totally can do finer features. So I'm going to start by working on this. And make sure to tape down the tracing paper because this way it won't move when you're tracing. So I'm going to start with this face. I'm just going to go around the chin here. And I'm going to do the hair as well. So here, just do the face in the same way. I'm going to put these curves in because just framing the face here. And then I'm going to do the outline of the hair. And now I'm going to do the other hand here. And the arm. I'm just going to continue tracing the outline. Alright, so once I've traced it out, I'm going to remove the tape. So this is what it's looking like. And yeah, I'm quite happy with how it looks. Next, what you're going to do is grab a piece of fabric. This is the fabric I always use for embroidery. It's a nice cotton. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece of fabric that will fit my embroidery hoop. Now this is the hoop I'm using. So I'm going to make sure to get a piece of fabric that fits within this hoop. So now we have quite an important bit. So we have our fabric in our hoop. We're going to undo the hoop. And we're going to grab our picture here. And we're going to put it in the hoop. So you have to make sure the picture will fit before you actually trace it. I didn't mention. But yeah, so here. And see how much you want, how far you want it from the bottom. So I think for me, about here is good. And I might want to add a bit of text on the left, so I'm going to leave just a little bit of space. I'm not completely sure if I'll do that now, but it's better to leave some space. Then I'm going to get the top hoop and put it over both the fabric and the tracing paper. And tracing paper is not too thick, so it should be fine. And as you can see here, this is kind of puckered, so I'm just going to redo it. Make sure it's all nice and flat. Yeah. Either way, it doesn't have to be exactly as you want it now because you can quite literally just open the hoop and change the position. So, okay, great. Now I'm going to pop that through. I'm going to tighten it at the top. And there we have it. Now, I also do this sometimes with normal paper, so you will have no issue getting the tracing paper through. You might have to loosen your hoop a little bit. Perfect. Now we're ready to start. Okay, so I've just set my hoop up onto a stand that I have to make it easier for you to see. And I'm going to grab a needle and some thread. Now you can use absolutely whatever colour you want. I'm using black because I just want the outline to be in that colour. And I'm using 2 strands instead of the normal 6 it comes with. And I'm just going to do a knot at the end. So wrap it over, twist it, and pull the knot through, like so. So I'm going to start and show you what I like to do. So we start by working from the back. So we bring the needle through the back here, and we're just going to start to sew. And I know it's going to be a very weird sensation to sew on top of paper, but it's fine. So your needle is going through both the paper and the fabric. So you might need a slightly sharper needle, but honestly, I'm just using one that I always use. But just in case it doesn't work, maybe go for a sharper one. So I'm going to start maybe here on this straight line. So here, I'm going to bring the needle up. So you can already kind of see. And just bring it up here. Then I'm going to pull it through. Great, now you tug it, won't go anywhere because there is the knot. Now I'm going to go up, and I'm going to be doing a simple back stitch. You can do a stem stitch or whatever you please, but honestly, I would say a back stitch is easier because we later have to rip off this layer of tissue, of paper. So go for a back stitch, I would recommend. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 1/2 centimeter up and place the next stitch back down. So this is just a back stitch, a simple back stitch. There. So as you can see, we already have a stitch, and the paper obviously breaks. And it gets a bit finicky, especially in small areas, but you'll get the hang of it. Now I'm going to go one up again. Great. And then come back, oops, down. Now I'm going to go back up again. And come back down. Like so. When I get to an area here, like a bend, like a shoulder, I'm just going to do 2 smaller stitches. So I'm going to go down 1 here, just make a curve, because if you use 1 long stitch, it's going to end up straight. There. That kind of makes a bend. And then I'm going to go from the bottom, just do a stitch up to meet here. And then that will make a nice curve. There you go. So I've done a bit of the curls, and I'm going to show you how I like to do them. So I'm going to start by doing a kind of flat line here at the bottom of like a curl there. And now when I get to this next kind of squiggle, I would say you can slightly exaggerate it. So I might go above here, above the sort of curl or curve, and then come down to the original, the flat bit of the curl there. And there we've got this kind of texture going up and down, because even though it's an outline, we can still show texture of hair with the stitches that we use. Then I'm going to come up, then go back. There you go. And then I'm going to come back up here and back down again. And that's forming a really lovely texture already, which I'm really happy with how it's looking.
Alright, so now I've got my design fully embroidered on. This is what it's looking like. Looks really beautiful. Now I'm going to remove the hoop. Now just to make sure everything on the back is nice and secured. Yes? Good. Undo the hoop. Remove. And remove the bottom. I'm going to flatten it out here. So you've got the fabric and this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel. Now when you peel, do be careful because you don't want to rip your design. So I'm going to start by doing this in slightly small sections. So just tear here, gently, and you can end up sort of tearing around the stitches like this. And that's completely fine. You kind of don't want to be yanking over stitches. So it's bit by bit. Now I'm going to here. Great. So as you can see, I've kind of teared up to here. Now I'm just going to tear a bit more because there's still a little bit here. So I'm just going to be very careful and try to... Or if this doesn't work, as here it's a bit stubborn, I'm just going to start by working at an area that's already torn here. There. It's going to tear slowly. Yeah. Now when I get to here, again, just tear slowly. And you'll find that the whole chunks kind of come out like this, easily. other side. And just the tip is just to be gentle, but don't be scared to try to pull it out a little bit. Now here, as you can see, it gets a bit complex because we have some kind of stitch things going on. So I'm just going to try my best to tear a little there. And as you can see, this is gently here. Gently ease it out and wiggle it out. And you're good. Great. Oops. There you go. Great, so I've now taken off all the tracing paper. The important thing is to be nice and gentle. If not, stitches will rip. So yeah. So now I'm going to put my design back onto the hoop. And you can leave it at that if all you want is the outline. But I personally would like to add a little bit of text. So once it's back into the hoop, try to get it back where it was originally, unless you want to move it. So now I'm just going to write some text here. So I'm just going to decide how I want to do it. I'm just going to write it. Alright, so once I've drawn that, I just move the text around a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and grab some thread, so I'm using some green. I'm going to thread my needle as always. So just showing you here, I'm going to go into the top of the T, here. And I'm going to do a bit of a different stitch just to make it a bit funner, so a stem stitch. So this involves coming up once, going down, right after, like 1/2 centimeter. And then before you pull that whole entire loop down, you bring the needle back up through the middle of those 2 stitches you've just created, of the 2 holes inside, and you pull it up there. So it basically looks like just a running stitch with the thread coming out, and you start to see the stitch when you do the next stitch. So I'm going to go a bit more, so like kind of another 1/2 centimeter forward, down, and then leave a loop, and then bring the needle up through between both those stitches. Pull, and then down, leave a loop up, okay, up through those 2 stitches, and then finally just down where I want it, so back at that stitch, the final stitch. And now to do the line down on the T for twins, I'm going to come back up to where I want to start the T. Going to bring the thread down, and then bring the needle between the 2 stitches and pull. And then again, needle down, a bit further down, and then leave a loop, needle between both. And then I'm going to insert the needle here, right at the bottom. Great, so now I've finished the text and we have a really cute design which I love. This is perfect to go on your wall. You can put a nail and it comes through here. So you can now just remove the hoop and do whatever you want with this fabric, or you can frame it as a hoop and tuck the edges behind. We'll have a video coming up super soon on how to do that. So now you know how to embroider any outline from a reference photo. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe and like our video. We'll see you next time. Bye!